Okay, whoop whoop. I'm jumping in right straight away this week. No,
Sure.
like, is this cold open? This is the cold open. We're already going. Happy Ashes week, Jamie.
Happy, happy, happy.
Happy. Is it as happy as we would have been normally? Not sure. Um, I've got my little intro just to like get you back into the world of cricket. Um, I mean, I think you've been a bit more involved this time than previous times. Would that be fair to say?
I've watched some stuff.
No, it's good.
I have some notes.
I love that. But yeah, so for anyone who hasn't been, cricket has been happening again. Um, some's been dramatic, would you say? Some forgettable?
I think even the dramatic
Hmm,
has been a bit. Uh,
I agree. Um, there's been some for the Whippets, a little net session. That went cute. That went nicely. Wicket Whippets, if you want to join, let us know. Um, but yeah, Australia won the World Test Championship, in case you noticed. Does that mean they're the best? Are they the best? I don't know. Um, there were a lot of fines galore for over eight, and a couple of questions about some catches. Few catches. Some were good. Some were. Did he
mm,
catch that? Don't know. Ashes this week, as we said. Happy Ashes week. Edgerton is ready for the vibes. They've changed their Twitter handle to the Fortress again in brackets, except for 2019, which I appreciate. Um, but a big talking point is that Moeen vibes are back since Jack Leach is gone. I put Moeen vibes question mark and dunno slash hmm. I'm sure we'll discuss. England women also announced their squad yesterday for their Ashes test. Couple of debuts going on there, but not much spin. All of this, probably not much else, as this is my lunch break today. But welcome back to Jamie, and welcome back to Just Not Crick Pod. Are you buzzing on this week of weeks of cricket Test champs and Ashes?
you know what?
Yeah.
After the very uneventful weekend where nothing unprecedented or precedented or of any note happened,
Oh yeah,
um,
things that didn't happen won't happen and disregard happening. I'd say that's a three a three number of things not
mm,
happening.
yeah, um,
Treble, you might say, of things not happening.
yeah. I think prior to the Test Championship final and prior to the Mo news, I was much more buzzing.
Yes, okay.
Now it feels like we're back in the good old days where things were bleak and depressing.
Happy Ashes week. Would you like to start with Ashes chat, or would you like to get World Test Championship chat out the way?
We will start with the Test Championship, and that sort of bleeds into the Ashes because
Yeah,
all
and
of
then
those teams are in the Ashes, I think.
that's true, and then it leads into the Ashes, and that leads into the first day. Isn't that nice? So, World Test Championship, Australia won that by 209 runs. Old news now. But yeah, Australia got 469 their first innings. India 296. Australia then 270 for eight declared, and then India 234 all out after a kind of a capitulation last day where I think they lost 7 for 70 or something.
Mhm.
Travis Head and Steve Smith got hundreds. Boland got wickets galore. Lyon Forfer. I've then put brackets Ashes scary. Rahane got some runs after returning to the team for a little while out. But otherwise, India were just poor, in my opinion. They didn't play Ashwin, who's currently ranked the number one bowler in the world. I think it was Sunil Gavaskar who said um, that, if it's the other way around, you wouldn't not play your number one batter. But even though Ashwin's your number one bowler, you're not playing him for a balance of the side that, didn't really look like it made much sense, even for English conditions. I still think India are stronger with two spinners, regardless where they play. I think Ashwin plays in every other team, but odd to me. Um, there were a lot of fines, but if we'll talk about the actual cricket first before we talk about the other external bits. What is your overall opinion? This is the second World Test Championship final. India have lost them both, so no doubt the next one will definitely not be played in England. Um, what were your overall opinions of this final? Did the better team win?
I mean, the better team definitely won, but I
Yeah,
thought India were it's just a weird. performance. It was weird from the selection, wasn't it? Like you said, Ashwin not playing. Like
Mhm.
even if he comes in for Yadav or Thakur, then it's still a similar bowling attack to what Australia would have had with three mainline seamers and a spinner. But then India would have the advantage having Rashwin and Jadeja. And then like I don't think any of India's top four batsmen got a 50. I think Kohli got 49, and that's the highest
Yeah.
any of them got. They were just a bit crap, which is weird because they're stacked. Like these aren't bad players. They just didn't show up at all.
Do you reckon? I put in my notes here. I've got three things. One, they were just poor, had a bad test. But then I also put like complacent question mark, CBA post IPL question mark. IPL's also been going on for 2 months, only finished a few weeks ago, and then suddenly they're in a big final. I know Rohit's been saying, oh, shouldn't just be in June, shouldn't just be one game, all this, etc. Pat Cummins has said, well, most other finals are one game, deal with it. So it's like I kind of side more with Pat Cummins, and I feel like you say, India are stacked. They obviously didn't have Pant in this game. Obviously he's still out injured. I do think he probably would make quite a difference. But still with that kind of top five of, Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Pujara, who's been playing county cricket and scoring runs for fun, Kohli, Rahane, they should be still competing with Australia's top five and probably be better than Australia's top five, in my honest opinion. But I don't know. Do you reckon complacency, just poor CBA?
I mean, maybe fatigue from
Yeah,
the amount of cricket they're playing. That's a weird thing about being one game. Isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
It's not as if you've played one game to qualify
yeah.
for the final. Just think of it as a one-off test match,
Yeah,
which it was, and you didn't
it
show
was.
up.
Yeah,
It's just making excuses.
yeah.
Uh, I don't know. They just, honestly, it's a weird situation around India every time they seem to pop up. Like, I swear Kohli was meant to be back as well, but he was just fine.
Yeah, it was built up to be that kind of big Kohli day five. He's going to do something gigantuous here, and nah,
Yeah. Like, I really like Shubman Gill. I think he's a
yeah,
great player,
classy.
but you can't really put any much blame on him because he's still young.
No,
He's still working into it. I'm not convinced by Rohit as a captain,
no, I'm not at
especially
all.
after those remarks. It's just, and then
Yeah.
I can't see who else would be a captain in this side. Maybe a Jadeja, maybe ironically, fucking Ashwin.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they've gone through a lot of captains recently for injuries and stuff. So I think like the test they played us last year, Bumrah was captain. Obviously, Bumrah's not injured as well. I think KR Rahul was captain for a time. He's not in the team either. You obviously don't go back to Kohli, I guess. Um, Rahane's only just come back in the team as well. So it's a bit of an awkward situation where it kind of feels like it is just Rohit at the moment, just by proxy. But it's an awkward, weird one. Um, I because they've also lost a lot of their knockout tournament games of recent times. Obviously lost the final here, got pumped by England in the semi-final of the T20 World Cup by 10 wickets. Um, I'm pretty sure they didn't even qualify for the qualifiers in the T20 World Cup the year before. I think they lost Pakistan that first game. Um, they've always been in the knockout stages, but when the kind of the crux has come over the last kind of 10 years, they've just not, since they won the championship. But what is it? What is it? The other 50 over competition top the World Cup Champions Trophy. Since they won that in like 2013, they've struggled in big tournaments to get over the line. Don't know. Maybe it is a complacency thing. Maybe it is fatigue. I don't know. It just felt it was a very odd scattergun performance. It just felt like bits and pieces. We don't know what we're kind of just going with a formula and hoping this formula works. Um, but saying that, I guess credit has to go to Australia, even though I don't think they played particularly well. They dropped a lot of catches, but they also took some great catches. Um, their first order batting was probably what's the word? Uh, it kind of was overlooked by the fact that a lot of everyone else didn't do much. Eden Smith did a lot. But then the rest of the order, other than kind of a gritty like 40 odd from Warner, there wasn't a lot going on. But obviously, Headens have had that massive mammoth partnership that took India out of the game. Um, but I mean, bowling was pretty good. Pat Cummins looked a little bit off, bit rusty. He's not really played cricket in about 4 or 5 months. Might be less than that actually, because he had to go home for the India tour with his visit with his mother. Um, but yeah, they were good, begrudgingly. What were your opinions of Australia? Are we going to give them some credit?
I think we have to give them some credit. I think Alex Carey as well, middle order,
Yeah,
he got like 40 odd first innings and like 60 in the
yeah,
second.
yeah. Kerry did play well, to be fair.
Like we might be going into the Ashes talk a bit too soon, but I think their batting lineup is very similar to England in that they've got a very susceptible top two, maybe
Yeah,
top three, very strong middle order, and then the bowlers are just there in the belt.
yeah,
Like if you can get into that, if you can get the openers early, that's
hmm
fine because they've still got strength in the middle order. Like Smith
yeah,
showed that, not so much in the second innings, which was a bit more bitty. Yeah, Carey scored top scored with 66. But at that
yeah,
point, they didn't need to have that big partnership because they got that in the first innings. And
yeah, yeah.
so, like,
Good.
maybe having an off spinner that is ranked number one in the world against a left-handed bat in the middle order would have been quite useful.
Yeah, so for Travis, 100% for Travis Head, because he struggles a little bit. You're saying he struggles against pace, but you got 150 plus. But you saw the way he played Jadeja in the second innings, that he was a bit more susceptible to spin. So you feel like if Ashwin had been there from the start, don't know. Also, kind of bad toss to win and then bowl, which is obviously a bad decision. It's just yeah, they did well. GG's. I think the standout obviously runs galore for Head and Smith and Co and everyone, but to me the standout was probably Scott Boland. Um, got his first wickets overseas. I think it was it 8 in the match or something like that, or 6 or something like that. But this is again sort of Ash's chat vaguely as it's bleeding into, but he is for me undroppable from this team, especially against England and how many demons there will be from the last tour versus Scott Boland, this guy no one heard about before he played that first game. Um, yeah, I just think it's too much of a risk to say let's play Hazelwood, who's hardly played any cricket over the last year, over a guy who's just performing test in, test out, consistent, just always on the good line and length. I think he had a very terrific game. I think he definitely turned the tide a lot of the times as well. Um, yeah, I'd go Scotty Boland as my player of the match. Not that it means anything, but that's my player of the match.
Yeah, no, like he complements their bowling lineup really well. I think you'll get that sort of rotation with Hazelwood, Stark, and potentially Cummins
Yeah,
throughout the Ashes series.
yeah,
That it didn't quite work out last time Australia did that, but having Boland in that attack with Lyon,
yeah,
you've got those two like mainstays in the team,
yeah,
and then probably Cummins for the majority.
yeah,
That just helps the stability of the side, and
yeah.
honestly, I'm kind of worried.
Yeah, I think both bowling attacks for Ashes again is leading into going too much, but I think they're quite similar. Like you can kind of chop and change, but you know that each bowler that comes in is going to do a job. I think they'll probably want to play Stark in at Edgbaston, just for Lyon and Rough and stuff because it does spin a bit more there. And Lyon had a great game at Edgbaston last time, so if you make his job a bit easier, does that help Mo as well? Don't know, but I reckon they'll probably go Boland. I think it will be the same bowling attack
Yeah.
personally. I don't think they'll Hazelwood will be fit and ready, but I think he's probably more likely to play at Lords. Kind of like a Wokes-esque bowler to come in. You want to rush him back and then get injured and then lose another bowler later in the series. But then this is Ash's chat. Some last Test Championship stuff to go over. Um, the main thing I think is the catch just straight away. Get that out of the way.
Sure.
Out or not out.
Uh, with any catch that kind of looks grounded, but his finger might be under the ball.
Mm.
Who can fucking tell?
Well, yeah.
Honestly, like I'm somewhat confused with when it's grounded. Anyway, like if you've got
Mm.
like I've got a ball, if you've got
Oh, there is.
yeah, and it's sort of you catch it like that,
Yeah.
fingers under it, but the ball's also grounded. Like what is
Yeah. Yeah.
the precedent for that? Like I don't know, just call it as the umpire on field and stick with it because you're not going to get a definitive.
No, no, the technology is not
I
good enough or clear enough to show so comprehensively what's happened. Like that's that. Unless it's for me, unless it's clearly had one of those where it bounces and then goes up. And I think when you've got it in your hand and it's kind of just gone through there and it's in your hand, I would say that's out. You've got it in your hand. You've caught it. If it's one of those where it's gone bounce up and it's kind of looks like it kind of goes up, I think that's more likely to be given not out. I think if you've got your hands under it and you're in control of it, that's you're looking like centimeters of like ball touching the ground and stuff like that. It's impossible to call. So yeah, take the word of the fielder or the on-field umpire call. I just don't think you can rely on the technology to have a conclusive um result. And there wasn't a conclusive answer from that. Is the umpire's interpretation. It was given out, which but I also, if it had been given not out, I also would have been like, fair enough.
yeah, like you have to just accept whatever the
Yeah.
first decision is, really, because
Yeah.
the more you look at it, the more sort of like the more you think about whether it is or not, like
Yeah.
the more unclear it becomes.
Yeah, too unclear. It's impossible to say. So I don't think it's worth anyone getting rolled up. Obviously, India were quite rolled up by it, including Shubman Gill. I don't know if you're aware of this. So he decided to post a little Instagram or a little tweet. I think retweeting or a picture or whatever of Green taking a catch zoomed in, where with the zoom frames it looks like the ball is on the ground. Maybe it was on the ground. Who's ever to say? We'll never know. India lost the game. Um, and then he did a couple of emojis, a few kind of like magnifying glasses, and a shrug emoji, um, which didn't go down well with the ICC. Got a cheeky little fine. To go with all the other fines that have come from this game, because the over rate was abysmal. um, Day one, they bowled 85 overs out of a possible 90, and that's kind of normalish. I guess you'd accept that. A couple of blows to the body or whatever, or drinks break, or just someone behind the side screen, you lose a bit of time. They never make up overs on day one as well, which I don't understand, and it always really annoys me. But yeah.
I mean, they've got a day six as well, so if they really wanted to make up overs,
Yeah, do another day. Yeah, that'd be fun. Get everyone to buy more tickets. ICC would actually love that. But then we get on to day two and day three. Day two, they bowled 74 overs, and day three, they bowled 75 out of 90. That to me, like, I've seen some comments say, oh, but it doesn't matter as long as the cricket quality is good. I'm like, no, I don't. Cricket quality can be, that could be the best day's cricket you've ever seen. But at the end of the day, this is about it should be about the fans. It never is. It's about the people who've paid for a full day's cricket. They've paid for 90 overs. You're giving them 74. Like, you're not going to pay for like 80 minutes of football. Like, you're paying for a whole day of cricket. 90 overs. That's what's advertised. 90 overs is going to be bowled today. 90 overs. You have 74. Okay, you bowled 74. I'll take a little refund then. Cheers. Like, it's not right. So it doesn't help the fans, but India got fined 100% of their match fee for all players. Australia got 80% of their match fee fined for all of their players. Shubman Gill has been fined 115% of his match fee, so 100% and then 15% of the discrepancy he had with the old catch being taken. So that means, in very kind of village cricket words, he had to pay to play. He paid for the experience of that test match by paying 15% of the match fee back to the ICC, which I guess is fair.
a bit more than like £3 though, in it.
Little bit, yeah. I don't know what 100% match fee is for test cricketers. I imagine it's quite a lot. So that's probably a fair bit, but you know, I think he does all right. So I think that's probably back pocket change.
Should have been caught then. Should have played better shot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, don't edge it. It won't have a problem.
Yeah,
But they wouldn't have won the game anyway. They would set whatever too much to win 440 or something. But yeah, Australia better team. That's kind of about it. The only other note I've got is Marnus sleepy.
yes. Warner sleeps. Warner, no, Warner bats. I sleep.
Yeah,
Warner out. Real shit.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I'm hoping we've not peaked with meme of the cricket season already, but I feel like it's going to be quite hard to top. Um, just to kind of steal by steal frame and sleep, and then like, oh, it's good, it's good, it's good meme, it's good meme,
uh,
and it would be Marnus as well, who I think had an okay game, but hasn't set the world light in this test and probably will against England. Um, any other thoughts about this final? Anything about overrates? Anything about Australia? I've actually got some questions. If you've not got anything,
I mean, like, I quite like Shubman Gill airing his displeasure
yeah,
at the catch. I think sportsmen and athletes in general should do that more rather than just being a bit PR friendly.
yeah,
If you're pissed off, show that you're pissed off because that endears yourself to the fans.
mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
even if you come off as a bit of a salty twat for being caught,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's quite nice. I'm all for that. I'm glad he got yeah.
yeah.
Good
I
sport.
always it adds a bit of spice, doesn't it? Whenever someone comes out and actually says what they think. Um, which is something I quite like with the England team, that a lot of their press conferences now are very blunt.
Mhm.
There's no kind of like rubbish PR talk. It is just saying what they're feeling and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I've got a couple of questions. I'll put them to you
Fun.
about this World Chess Championship final. You know, our engagement is rocketing. Two questions.
Okay.
Um, First one, um, how different would the final have been with Rishbal Pant? Um, would it have been a more close day five? Would already been the game changer between the two teams. And obviously, Pant is out for a fair old while after that kind of horrific car accident. Do you think Pant would have made a difference in this game?
Well, yeah, clearly, like having your main wicketkeeper play full stop would have been
Hmm.
quite nice. But I think India, in their first innings, were sort of building up to have their sort of middle over splurge of runs.
Yeah.
It's quite nice when you've got Pant to come in to add to that as well. Was it Rahani got 80?
Not yeah, 80 odd, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, like Jadeja was looking really good at that spell. If you've got like Pants coming in, well, when one of those get out, like
Yeah.
it makes it a more interesting match. I'm not sure with how well the rest of the Indian team played if it makes a complete difference. I think Australia
Mm.
still edge it.
Yeah.
I think it's closer. Yeah.
I think it is. I think he definitely takes the game more to Australia, and you see that when he's played against England, and in Australia. I think he's kind of tailor made for those situations with backs against the wall when he can just counter attack. And I think even if injured, got the deficit down to about 100 in that first innings, which I think Pant would be very capable of doing, then you're probably looking at a very different game of momentum. It's similar-ish to the game England played India last year at Edgbaston, where I think England were in a very similar situation. And then Bairstow came in and then blitzed 100, and then suddenly India didn't have as much of a lead as they initially thought they would. Obviously, that was when Kohli decided to rile up Bairstow, which you know is probably not a wise decision. Um, so I think so. I think he is kind of tailor made for that match situation, and Bharat is not the player that Pant is, but um, that's just the situation India are in with a fair few injuries.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing, so like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got to play with the players you've got.
exactly. Yeah, and if you've not got a better substitute keeper to come in, then that's a
You know,
problem. I would, yeah.
maybe they should have called MS Dhoni out of retirement.
I mean, he had done a job. He had done vibes. Or they should have just played KO Rahul as the keeper, and I think I know he's fairly a little bit out of form, but he'd probably do as well as Barrett did. But
Yeah.
never mind.
I mean, Dinesh Karthik was there commentating, wasn't he?
I mean, hard to take Kartik. I mean, he's still decent. Yeah, get him in, get him in. And he's got a very cool batting helmet as well. Got to love it. Right, last question, which actually leads nicely into our next segment. Has the final between Australia and India changed how fans foresee the Ashes
Yes,
Jamie, does it change it? Okay.
yeah.
Does this one-off game that has no kind of warm up or just warm up vibe? Does it change how you feel? Change how you feel?
Well, so England warmed up with this pointless
Oh, we haven't even spoke about the
pure.
Ireland game.
What's there to talk about? It was a day
Everyone
shorter
got
than
runs
the
and wickets
full
were
day.
taken.
But it was 3 days. We predicted 3 days. It was 3 days. England warm up for the Ashes in that e- poor excuse of a test match, which was 4 days max, which ended after 3 days.
Yeah,
While Australia warm up by winning the World Test Championship
yeah.
against a legitimate test side. Like
Tom
no
got five.
disrespect, yeah, but like no disrespect to Ireland, but
No.
like even the captain was like, we've got more important
Well,
matches
we discussed that, didn't
coming
we?
up.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
if Australia
It
had lost, then maybe it would have been a bit more even. But I think playing a final is a better warm up for a series than playing a glorified friendly.
yeah. No, I'd agree. I mean, if England had played two test matches against Ireland and there'd been 5-day games, and it gives because you saw Ireland were absolutely the better, well, were a better side in the second innings.
Mhm.
They batted longer. They had good application. Um, and if it had been a 2-game series, they could have taken that form into the second game. We probably had a better contest. I think their bowling was the issue. They had real lack of bowling, so England weren't really tested. Like the highlights reel, you see lots of full tosses, and it's like this is Test cricket, and this is the highest level, and that's kind of looks a bit village. And it's no discredit to Ireland because they don't play red ball cricket in Ireland at the moment since COVID. Um, so you don't. The only time they were playing first class cricket was when they were playing Test cricket, which is ridiculous. Um, so it's yeah, I mean I agree. Um, whether it changes my feeling about how the Ashes will go, I'm not sure. I think it's good. Australia will feel better having a run out and against a decent team, but I think if India had given them a bit more of a contest, I think they would have probably preferred that. I don't think there was other when a couple of partnerships, Rahane and things. I don't really think there was a session that India won. Um, but I mean, maybe Australia wanted a game where they could just easily sweep, and they foresee a similar thing against England. But I don't know whether they would have wanted a fiercer contest. Um, but don't
I'm
know.
I'm sure they would have, but regardless, they've got momentum, they've got confidence
Good vibes.
now, yeah, and they've won a game in England prior to
Yeah,
the.
which is good. Yeah. Yeah. It's vibes all round. So speaking of vibes, sorry, jump into the Ashes.
All right,
Um,
okay.
what I'm going to do first, we are going to quickly, they were announced yesterday, before we jump into the whole big old discussion of vibes for the men's Ashes, I'm going to quickly talk about the women's squad that was announced yesterday. And then we'll finish the ep with the big old Ashes discussion for the one that starts this week. So, um, women's test match squad was announced yesterday. Um, for their test match at Trent Bridge, which is good because this is a 5-day test match as opposed to the 4-day test they had been playing previously. So, kind of similar to how England played Ireland in the men's. 4 days is pointless. Give them 5 days because every women's test match that's happened pretty much as long as I can remember has always ended in a draw. And it's always just been ridiculous. You probably have a good result, but it's just draw because there's not enough time. Great. Also, very good that it's at Trent Bridge, and it's pretty much sold out as far as I'm aware,
Nice.
which is really good. Really fantastic women's game, and just good that they're at a you know high quality, big not high quality is probably the wrong word, but a established test match ground like Trent Bridge, and that's a great atmosphere. It's middle of the country as well, which is good for people to go and see it. It's not you're not putting people by having to go to Lords or the Oval or something. It's at Trent Bridge. That is a good vibes ground, um, and it's been selling really well. So it's going to be very good to see. Um, Mostly a settled squad. Um, they've got maiden call ups for Lauren Filler and Danny Gibson. Not sure either will play, but they are both kind of vibey players. And John Lewis has recently taken over as head coach of the women's team and was previously in the men's setup, previously working with McCullum. So it does feel as though that kind of same philosophy is going to be transferred to the test game for the women, which is very good to see. Danny Wyatt, for example, has been called up for the first time. She's been a prolific white ball player for England, but hasn't played test cricket before. Doesn't have a particularly great red ball record, but vibes is the go-to word with an England setup. So she's been called up. They've only gone with one spinner, with Sophie Eccleston, who is the number one test spinner in the world, which is good to add. But spin is a lot more prominent in the women's game. So there is a bit of, maybe it could have had a second spinner, maybe a Sarah Glenn, but I think Sophie Eccleston's good enough for that. But it's a fairly settled squad. It's a multi-format series, which I kind of like. So every game matters. The test match, the 2020s, the 50 overs, they all go towards as a mini kind of competition, and whoever wins the most points out of it wins. So if you win a test match, you win 4 points, and I think it's 2 points for a 2020 and an ODI. So every game matters, which gives context to, what you'd normally think about a pointless bilateral T20 series when it all goes together as one. Makes more sense. But yeah, vibes. I am concerned that it is against Australia, who are probably one of the best sporting outfits in any sport, really. They win everything. They are going to be captained by Lisa Healy rather than Meg Lanning. Meg Lanning is out with an injury, so that might be a small advantage, but they are just stacked. They are just good. Any conditions, a 5-day game, is good for them as well, but it gives them more chance to just score, 1,000. But we will see how it goes. I'm looking forward to a 5-day game because I've always just been very disappointed with 4-day test matches. So a 5-day test for a women's game is good vibes. Do you share the good vibes in that, Jamie?
Yeah, the squad picks seem very vibey. I think if England are gonna pick up a win, I think the test matches are the best bet.
Yeah, I agree.
There's like just chance of random shit happening.
Yeah.
Whereas we've seen Australia just completely dominate white ball.
Yep.
Forever. And like if we do get a win in the test matches, then having those bigger points is
makes a huge difference.
Yeah, because it's a fun idea having that sort of multi-format series as well. Like I wish that would come over to the men's game as well, just for a bit of balance, really.
And context. Like, what's the point of a 3-match T20 series if it doesn't really go towards anything? If it all goes towards a format tour, so in women's game and the men's game. But if you take the men's game, for example, if you had the Ireland test, sure, it's only one test, but if you had like 2 ODIs and T20 alongside of it, and you made it a small little multi-format series like the women's do, then that adds more context to everything, and suddenly it doesn't just feel like a stuck-on game, which it obviously is. But no, good vibes. Looking forward to it. And that's on the 22nd of June, so a week after the first men's Ashes test. And I am pretty sure we're going to cover each of the test matches this summer. So yay. So get hyped. But yeah, good vibes. Good vibes. Speaking of good vibes again,
oh god,
we'll jump into the Ashes for the boys. So let's jump into it. Yay. The Ashes, the men's Ashes begins this Friday at Edgbaston, the Fortress, excluding 2019. Big vibes. Obviously, I think I would say if you said back in some sign have a little beep outside, it's not very nice talking about the Ashes. I'd say if you look back to maybe the Pakistan tour, I think then you'd probably say England firm favourites. I think a lot of things have happened since Stokes getting a cheeky injury. Injury clouds slightly over kind of Anderson, Robinson, the Bairstow Folks debate, Zach Crawley. A few more question marks have begun to arise. A new question mark has arisen itself over the last week. Jack Leach has been ruled out for the whole summer, which is a massive blow for him with a lower back injury. Kind of the guy doesn't really catch a break. He had a nice long run in his side, which felt like a long time coming. from last June till now, but picked up during the Ireland Test match, which means he is out, which means that England were without a spinner. So they need a new one or an old one. I'm going to relay to you how the conversation went down. The spinner in question had a press conference today, and he gave information about how his recall came about. Stokesy messaged me with a question mark, Ashes. I hadn't heard of Leachy news at the time, so I just said lol. And with that, Moeen Ali is back after a 2-year absence from Test cricket with no first-class cricket. He retired from the form of the game. Was umming and ahhing about going to the Pakistan tour, decided not to go. Cometh the hour, cometh the Mo. Mo is back. How are you feeling, Jamie?
I think it's a stupid decision.
Please carry on.
When your mainline spinner that we've questioned his place in the team for a while now, he's not. We think there should be someone to come in to replace him eventually. I think Rehan Ahmed will be that player eventually.
Yeah.
But without Leach, it's only natural to look into the pool of spinners that you do have. You should only go and seek out a retired player when you have literally no other option. It shouldn't just be a spur of the moment joking message. Do you want to play in the Ashes, mate? Like, what sort of message does this send to county finish? You might as well not bother. Like, just following Billings and Livingston's footsteps. They could see they weren't ever going to get into this England team, so they'll just go franchise team. What does this tell Will Jacks or Liam Dawson? There's just no chance of you getting in this team. I can understand them not wanting Rian Ahmed in to get smashed around. But then there's the argument that Mo fits his Bazball vibe. Well, does Rian not fit that same vibe? Well, would it not be better to integrate Rihan now, regardless of whether his confidence? It feels a very old England matesy decision when this Bazball era has been very front foot, looking to the future. It just feels like a step back.
So, I think there are many mitigating circumstances for this. First, like you say, the talent pool of spin ain't good. Parkinson isn't even first choice for Lancashire at the moment. He was substitute for Leach when he went injured last year. Ain't in the frame now. Dom Bess, nah. Seeing a lot of chat about Liam Dawson. I think Liam Dawson would have been more kind of old school England. Let's just go someone safe. Not gonna set the world alight, but might hold down an end. I don't think he's test level. As much as Hampshire seem to believe on their social media account, I think he's probably good white ball player, but test matches, I think he's already been found out from the games he has played. He's not going to set the world alight. He's not really going to do much from what this team wants. Will Jacks, good, but I don't really see a difference between Will Jacks and a Mo. But I guess you could then say we'll just play Will Jacks, but he's not. He's only had a couple of games in Pakistan. He's not done great stuff with the ball this year either. All averaging over 40 in red ball cricket. It makes that awkward question being what's the point when you then go to someone who's not playing the form. I think it's more due to the fact that Stokes is not fit. And as much as he says he's going to bowl and have a full roll with the ball, I very much doubt that. I think if Stokes was 100% fit and was absolutely going to bowl a full roll in every game, I think Rayan still would have played, because then you've got the option with a leg spinner. If he gets hit about a bit, it's fine. You can rotate back to Stokes or a different bowler. I think when you're effectively already down to 4 bowlers before the test series begins, I think they were just, let's go someone experienced. And then if Stokes, gets fully injured and is out of a game, Mo then slots into the all-rounder slot, and then you bring in another pace bowler. I think that's the way they're looking. I don't necessarily agree, but I think that is the mitigating circumstances behind it. I think a lot of pieces have had to fall into an awkward place for this to be Leach's ended. Let's just go Mo. I'm not sure how I feel about the vibey text message to be just Ashes. What you're thinking, but
Either
it's
like
difficult.
even with that, I think if Stokes isn't fit, then
Mm,
the answer is you don't play regardless of if you're captain or not.
yeah,
I think as much as that is a plausible and believable like hypothesis, I think it's still conjecture. Conjecture. We
of
don't
course
know.
it is. Of course it is.
We can't say for sure that that's the thing. Whereas we
Yeah,
can say for sure that they've called a retired player to play for them ahead of
yeah,
actual
yeah,
players playing county
yeah,
championship stuff. So it just like feels a bit wrong to me. And
yeah.
like, who is it on that we're not producing spinners? It's not the
Well,
spinners'
yeah,
fault. Like even Graham Swan and Adil Rashid are basically anomalies in English
for
cricket.
sure.
There's never been a good like line of spinners coming out of English
No,
game.
no,
That's all on the ECC and how counties like develop their spinners.
yeah,
Like I maybe Amar Verdi was never going to be a proper spinner,
yeah,
but like Surrey loaned him out to Somerset last year because they weren't playing him, and he's just playing in the seconds at the
yeah,
minute for Surrey.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how can a spinner develop to be a better player if you're just playing them in the reserves?
Mm-hmm.
How can a spinner be tested as a test match player if you're not going to even consider them for it?
Yeah,
Like Parky came in New Zealand last year, wasn't it? When
yeah,
Leach,
yeah.
was it concussion or something?
Concussion substitute. Yeah,
Yeah, and he did all right.
yeah.
He wasn't like burning the world alight or anything, but he
No,
did a solid job. But for some reason, like he must have punched Baz or Stokes in the cock or something because he's just not getting a
it's just
wicket.
completely fallen away. I don't understand what's happened with Parky at all.
Like if you want a solid sort of dependable pick rather than rushing or risking denting Rian's confidence and future potential, Parky would have been a solid choice, but
Actually, yeah,
apparently he's got some people's news or something. I
imagine so. I am a bit surprised they didn't go Will Jacks. Um, considering he was the first choice second spinner in Pakistan. Obviously Ryan got five for in the last game, which is great. But they did play Jacks at that kind of Mo number eight role in Pakistan, and he got six for on debut. Was for about 650, but he did get wickets on a dead track. Um, I think if he had had a better start to the season, I think he might have had more of a chance. Um, but I don't ever think that people like Parkinson, Dawson, Bess were ever in the frame. Um, I think it was only ever between Jackson and Ahmed if they didn't go Mo. Um, I can understand you wanting the experience of Mo, but you are also picking someone very different from Leach.
I
It's
think,
like
yeah, Mo in his press conference even
yeah,
said that, didn't he? He
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
like, I liked his conference today, or whenever he did it. Like, he was saying, no, I can't hold up an end.
yeah,
That's not what I'm
yeah.
here for. The pressure from Mo comes from threatening the
Wicket
wicket. But,
taking balls. Yeah.
like, his consistency with bat and ball
Hmm.
is wanting. And I love Mo.
Yeah.
But he's,
Big fans of Mo. And I'm nothing against Mo saying yes to this because he's been asked, "Do you want to play?" He's like, "Yeah, all right, that's fine. It's his decision. It's decision making to ask Mo. I guess
it,
is
it,
the
it's not on Mo, is it? Like,
no,
it would have been, like, not big of it, but it would have, like, if he had said no, I'd have respected that. So it's not that I don't respect him to say,
no, sure,
yeah, like his decision is not the controversial thing. It's the decision of the
this is
selectors, of the
actually
Baz,
asking.
of the
Yeah,
Stoke.
yeah, yeah. It's It's not one. I mean, I
Uh,
guess the other factor is as well. There's a lot of left-handers in that team. So you got Warner, you got Kawaja, you got Head, you've got Airy, potentially Mitchell Stark. A lot of left-handers off spin is good. Is Jax going to offer you more wicket-taking deliveries than Mo? Probably not. But then, if you're planning into this, you're going ahead with Leach, who bowls okay to left-handers, but not necessarily setting the world light. It's just a bit. I understand this is the kind of vibe check, and I really want Mo to do well. I'd love to see Mo do well. It kind of feels like if he can have these last 5 games and then he can just kind of bow out as a kind of like this is that, and that can be a nice because his end against India, we saw his last game, just felt very flat for the kind of like player that Mo is. If he can go out with a real solid performance in the Ashes, I'll be very happy for Mo. Um, and I'd hope that next time around they can really put some time and effort into developing red ball spinners in cricket. I feel like this is very much like putting a plaster over something very quickly. What can we fix? Mo. If Adil Rashid had been fit, I probably think Adil Rashid would be in. But his shoulder's not going to last 5 tests, so they go Mo. It's just a bit weird vibe rather than good vibes.
Yeah, I mean, like to go back to like saying Mo might come into that Stokes role if Stokes is missing
Yeah,
again completely, then why not Livingston as well? Like
it's
I
also a point. Yeah,
like he's the similar sort of person who would jump into the Bazball vibes,
yeah.
batting wise.
Also doesn't play red ball cricket, so that fits the criteria.
Exactly. What like Mo's not played Red Bull for 2 years or something. It's
Yeah, yeah. It asks a lot more difficult questions than it answers. I mean, on the form of the spinners that are available, I completely understand not picking them because they're not. So if one of them had been like averaging 15 and ripped the world apart, I think it'd be much more easy to say we'll pick them. Um, but I think following this, it seems to be a recurring conversation, but it needs looking at how you can really produce good quality spinners. Hopefully, Rayhan is the answer, but he's a young kid at the end of the day. He's doing good vibes, but it's still going to take a lot of work. He's only 19. Um, we'll see what happens. But Mo is back.
yeah.
Mo will play.
Another counterpoint. Like England have played four seamers before.
Yeah, I think Stokes wants to spinny though,
I mean,
little cheeky
yeah, I
spin.
would want a spinner as well, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying as another option,
yeah,
one I've even considered before. Those was just like WYD.
yeah.
You up?
Uh,
You up?
yeah, pretty much. It's literally that.
Meetings left
Lol.
her space.
Yeah. Oh goodness, but yeah, we'll see. I only wish best for Mo, and I just hope that the powers that be look at this and be like, how can we avoid this again in future? Because it needs looking at. If Jax is the answer, as well as Ahmed, put time into developing their game and not just have Jax as a bits and pieces spinner. Really put the effort into developing. Maybe do like spin camps or whatever, where they can go to India or Pakistan, learn their trade more. They used to do that, I think. Used to. I may be imagining that, but I'm pretty sure they used to have specific kind of tours or camps for young spinners and learn their trade. I think that would be so beneficial. But we'll see. They'll just learn on franchise cricket, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Maybe make pitches in the country where they're playing a bit more
yeah.
friendly to spinners rather than seam.
Just produce a rag turner, but they won't because the grounds of the county championship are in their right to produce as many pitches they want. They don't have to bow down to the rules of EZB, but I still think just produce a old like Chennai pitch in the Oval in September. Why not? But oh well.
Mm.
Um, so saying all that, Mo will play on Friday. So I imagine England's team will go thus: Duckett, Crawley, Pope, Root, Brooke, Stokes, Bairstow, Mo, and then you have the bowlers.
Jimmy
Um,
Ford, if Jimmy is fit.
Jimmy, if is fit, Robinson is fit, and then do you go Broad or Wood? Do you want to go the extra pace for
I
that
think
first game, or Broad for Warner factor? Broad will play during at some point in the series. I get the feeling he's not going to play the first test. He'll probably play the second. And I feel like they want, especially with how Head played Siraj pace in the first game, they'll be like, oh, he might be able to cause a bit of issue, bit of aggro, but don't know. What would you personally want to go with?
I probably would have gone Wood, Broad, Anderson,
Hmm.
but I can see that being the second test.
Yeah.
Lineup. I mean, they've got a lot of seam bowlers in the 16-man squad.
Yeah, you got
They've
Wokes and
got
Potts as well.
yeah, Tongue.
Tongue, he got five from the last game. What have you forgotten? Tongue. Um, yeah, I think it's also a lot because like Robinson and Anderson didn't play that Ireland test, especially to play this first
Mhm.
test. Robinson has been the pick bowler in all county cricket this season. He's been phenomenal. I guess the only question mark would be they both were injured about a month ago or less than a month ago. So is it a big risk to go into that first game with two potential maybe injury clouds? Probably fully fit, but is it a risk? Wood has obviously had a history of injuries. Do you want to risk him straight away? But do you want to like hit the ground running, win that first game, and then take it from there? Um, I think they would want that extra pace. That's why they obviously brought Tongue in for the Ireland game. Otherwise, they would just played Wokes. Um, so I reckon Wood. I think it will be Anderson, Robinson, Wood with Mo and Stokes,
Yeah.
which is not bad. I don't think any
Uh,
attack is going to be like rubbish. Um, and then Broad will probably come in for the second game, maybe for Wood, because it's probably less likely going to be pace on at Lords. Um, but yeah,
yeah,
I'm happy with that. I'd say
yeah. Like the only thing I would say is, would you want two players coming back from injury around the same sort of time, coming back
as
in
long
that same sort of game?
as long as they're fully fit, I guess. As long as they've been
But
definitely
I mean,
cleared, but
with Stokes apparently being fully fit doesn't matter. So,
no, probably not. Um,
like, I think
I,
Tongue versus Wood, you would pick Wood
yeah,
primarily, but like,
yeah,
I don't think picking Tongue after his game against Ireland, however
yeah,
pointless the game was,
yeah,
like he offers a similar sort of thing to Wood.
yeah.
So,
I also don't think that waiting another week is going to make a difference for someone like a Wood or an Anderson.
no.
Like they're not. It's not that they're playing cricket to get match form.
Mhm.
They're all going to have to come on this without any kind of recent-ish match form. Like Wood's not played any first-class cricket this season since he come back from the IPL for the birth of his kid. Um, Robinson's also been injured. At the end of the day, Bairstow didn't bat against Ireland. He's just going to come in. It's
Mhm.
just I think that's just the way cricket works now. They're just going to play, and that's going to be it. And I think they all trust their abilities well enough. Mo hasn't played red ball cricket in 2 years, so it's just yeah, it's just going to be how they're feeling, and how they're vibing, which is just this team. But I think I'm happy with that side, even with Mo in, because I think even with Mo, if you're potentially hypothetically taking Mo at his best, which is 2015, 2017, him at eight slots in as someone who can counter attack in this team. Um, bowl good wicket taking deliveries, which he did in the 2021 series against India. He is a good logistical fit in this kind of baseball side. Just the reasons behind it are obviously awkward, but we've already gone through that. Um,
I
I
also
think
think
it's strong.
I've got a hunch Bairstow's going to bat ahead of Stokes as well.
Yeah, if Stokes is on the
Just
loo,
no, I think just in general, I think that
yeah.
could turn out to be complete shite, but it's just a hunch
I
I've got.
mean, it's hypothetical because we didn't see what happened in the
Mhm.
Ireland game. So they didn't bat either of them. So potentially, it might depend upon how long they've been in the field with Bairstow keeping.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I would say this batting order is. We've said this word a lot. It is stacked. They bat down to eight with Mo, and that all of them are going to be going at it. There's not one player who's going to be just see it out till tea.
Mhm.
Um, so that's exciting on the kind of fast flat pitches they're wanting to produce. There is kind of no respite. Even Wood is a decent bat. Broad the Nighthawk when he plays is obviously
Yeah.
important. And I think the bowling is strong. So I mean, going back to our very earlier question, does the World Test Championship change how I view the Ashes going to go? Probably not for me. I would think England still have an edge. Just I don't think what's happened in the game before is going to phase how they're going to play or their confidence or their momentum. Um, whether it'll be 5-0, I think there will not be a draw in this series, unless rain, but I'm not counting that. And I would say England would win at the very least. I think it's 3 or 4.
Okay.
So
I think Australia are picking up at least one win.
there'll be a collapse somewhere where England get
Mhm.
skittled out for 110, and then everyone and his dog will be saying, "Oh, basketball doesn't work. Oh, what are you doing? This is too reckless. This is rubbish." And then next game they score 500 or 50 overs, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay."
I mean, next innings
Um,
that'll happen.
yeah, they'll win the same game. I mean, lest we forget, they were all out for 67 at Headingley in 2019 and then frigging won that. So it's there will be a collapse somewhere. There'll be the same old boring media chat being like, oh, that's not very good, is it? Or can't do it against Australia, and then they will do it against Australia. So I think it'll be good. I don't I can't see there being a close game. I don't know if that makes sense. I just think like, whichever team wins will just smash it. And then the next team will do a similar thing. I just think the England team will just take the game away from an opposition, or Australia will bowl too well for another team not to get back into it. I just can't see it being a. I think the sides are too different for me for there to be a close contest. But I hope there is. I might be wrong. Each game might be winning by 1 wicket or 2 runs, but I think whichever team wins the game will win it comprehensively. Is my opinion.
It's weird because, like we said before, I think the main sort of 11 are very similar in
Yeah, I
like
think they are. Yeah,
I know
are
I
very
think
different ways of playing. Yeah,
I think the series as a whole is going to be closer.
yeah,
Don't we think?
competitively. Yeah.
Yeah, I think England will still take it, but I think it's 3-1 at best.
Okay. We'll lock in those oaks. I'm gonna go 4-1 then. I'm gonna be right out there. I'm not teetering on the edge of 5-0. I would love to see it one day. I'm gonna teeter on 4-1,
Mhm.
and I can't wait to see us lose 4-1 instead, the opposite way around. Um, but yeah, I think it'll be good competitive series, good vibes. It's probably the best Ashes series in a long time in terms of prospects, as I can remember.
It feels the
Um,
most even as well.
yeah, yeah. Um, and England, as awkward as their selections are quite a settled team, whether you like Zach Crawley or not. I mean, not including Mo coming back, but their team has been quite settled for a long time with who they want to play and the brand they want to play. It's not like bringing in a Jason Roy to open for the Ashes. Um, who would do that? But yeah, excited, and we will review the first test probably next week when it finishes. I imagine, unless it goes on for a timeless test. Um, but yeah, and then second test will be at day 3.
Day four?
Day 3, I think.
I don't know.
You'll find out.
We'll be there on the
We'll be there
Friday.
on the Ashes day, which I think is day 3. But we'll be there at some point.
But
Um,
we'll be there. We just don't know
we'll be
which
there.
day it is.
We'll be at the gates, even if we haven't got tickets for the day. But yeah, that's our Ashes chat. Um, we'll quickly finish off. I think you said you had a very quick, just not crick. Actually, very quick crick.
Quick correct.
This has just dropped, I think, today. Just gonna get your quick, honest reactions. It might mean nothing, might
Okay.
lead to nothing. The ICC are considering 2 major steps to manage T20 franchise leagues. First step is to limit 4 overseas players from test nations in each 11, and all T20 leagues are required to give national boards 10% of the fee they pay each player. And that's being reported by the Telegraph. Quick opinions, quick news. What do you think? Is that going to stop franchise cricket destroying Test cricket?
I mean, 4 test match players per team is still a lot, isn't it? That
Yeah,
wouldn't, if I didn't know any better, which I don't, I would have thought it would be like 3 overseas players
yeah.
anyway.
But that's also including kind of associate teams as well.
Uh,
Not including, so that's not including associate
yeah,
nations. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't think that does much. What do you, how
good.
are you going to stop the IPL playing
Yeah.
every week?
If it was 4 Test match contracted players per squad, I'd be like, okay, fair enough. That's quite a big step, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna make too much difference at this stage. Right. That's a quick bit of quick news because that's just popped up. So that's Jamie's honest reactions. Stokes is also out there having a bowl. Today I'm just seeing that live at Edgbaston. He's having a little bowl, trundling in, bowling in, good length. Yep. Nice. He's
Yeah.
bowling.
I'm
Um,
glad he's got no fitness concerns at all.
yeah. Uh, oh gosh, the first one they posted there was him doing about 5 strides, and then he's actually building up. Right, just not Crick.
Yeah. So I was struggling with this one because
Sure,
Reddit is having a bit of a blackout because of like third-party app disputes.
that's
Reddit is
fun.
sort of forcing them to pay for the API which they use to
Okay.
like host the thing, which the third-party apps are saying will close them down. So
Oh,
I've not been able to check Reddit for
oh, devastating.
like a proper not crick
Yeah,
because a lot of communities are protesting that.
yeah.
So I've just been like searching whatever news I can find, and I've got like five sort of mad headlines.
Okay, so headline news. Okay, right.
Yeah, cool. First one's not particularly mad or anything. I just think it's funny because Todd Bowley's buying something else. Dick Clark Productions, Todd Bowley's Eldritch acquire Golden Globe Awards as Hollywood Foreign Press Association shutters. Not particularly interesting. I just think it's funny that Todd Bowley's buying something else.
He just has a lot of money. I mean, if you
Yeah,
got money to spend, spend it. Good
exactly.
guy. Good Chelsea person as well.
Exactly. Next up, Conor McGregor punch leaves Miami Heat mascot needing hospital treatment. I don't think you need any more context for that.
No, that's all the story. Like,
It's just,
great, poor mascot.
yeah, it's a bit funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crocodile found to have made herself pregnant in first known virgin birth.
Oh,
The weird thing is, apparently this happened in 2018.
oh,
So this
no
is,
one's covering it.
I don't know why that was like one of the first pieces of news
Yeah,
found in
that's a
2023, but
head of headline.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
Potentially the maddest thing that I
okay.
found. So Joseph Fiennes, who was in Handmaid's Tale and
Yeah.
Flash Forward, uh, Joseph Fiennes says playing Michael Jackson was the wrong decision and a bad mistake. I asked the
Oh,
broadcaster to pull it. If you're not sure, Joseph Fiennes
no.
is a white dude,
Oh, okay.
and he was playing
Good.
Michael Jackson when,
Brilliant.
after plastic surgery. It it's nightmare fuel. It is
Yeah, maybe it's not a good idea.
no, it was weird. I would urge everyone to go find the trailer for Urban Myths with Joseph Fiennes in it
Oh God, it's
because,
awful.
yep, I mean, it's just, honestly,
Nonsense. Okay, Christ. I will look it up.
yeah,
Um,
I think you should.
badly. But
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And like the last one is not as mad, but send
No.
me to Barbie Land immediately. The Barbie movie is a welcome salve for our weary bimbo souls, which led me on a little rabbit hole to look up what they meant by weary bimbo souls.
Yeah.
Apparently, bimbo is a term that is being used as like a hyper feminine and queer like term of empowerment now,
Oh,
which
okay.
I'm glad I learned about,
Now we've learned a word.
but you know, uh, if you don't know that, that's kind of a weird tagline to have.
Are you gonna watch Barbie?
I mean, after learning about the new like definition of a bimbo, I'm
Yeah,
more interested.
yeah. It does actually look quite good. Cool. So Barbie chat done. And that's the look ahead to the Ashes. Cool. I mean, I enjoyed the little headline chat. I think if you can find some fun headlines each week, that'd be fun. Um, any other cricket stuff going on? I don't think there is. Any other cricket thing from you to sign off?
I hope there's a better meme than like a bloke waking up.
It's a good meme though. It's a good meme. Uh, no, I mean I've not got much else. It is Ashes time. Next time we speak will be when England have either won or lost the first test. Um, good vibes. Mo is back. Everybody's happy, especially Jamie. Um, where can you find us?
At Just Not Crick Pod, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube,
All the
Spotify,
places.
Apple Podcast.
Yay. Give us a
Um,
listen. Give us a little listen. Enjoy it.
don't just like the things on Twitter and TikTok. Actually listen to the But
Yeah, our
I
social
mean,
media
I
manager's
suppose
rubbish.
if you're not listening right now, then it's not going to do anything, is it? Like,
Oh yeah.
you're not going to listen again. You're just going to go to the Twitter and Instagram and like the posts, aren't you? But if you're, uh,
So thanks for listening if you have. And we'll see you next time. Momo.
like the social media, please.